how the people who have no idea what they're doing somehow keep getting promoted? That's not an accident. That is what happens in workplaces that reward visibility over competence. You see, most organizations don't actually promote the best performers. They promote the safest ones, the ones who don't rock the boat, the ones who make upper management feel comfortable, who nod along and keep things smooth. Competence makes people nervous because competence exposes weakness. So when you're good at your job, you make people above you realize how little control they actually have. So instead of developing strong leaders, these systems recycle weak ones, and they promote loyalty over leadership. And once that cycle starts, every layer protects the one above it, and the real talent either burns out or leaves. And that is how mediocrity becomes the culture. So when you look around and wonder, why does every manager seem clueless? It's not just bad luck. It's structural. They're not failing up by accident. They're being rewarded for being unthreatening. And that is why real leadership feels so rare.
Real leadership is rare. We only have a few real leaders. And that's in every organization. Doesn't matter the industry. You only have a few real leaders in those organizations. You may have a lot of managers, a lot of supervisors, but not a lot of real leaders. So completely agree with that. However, I do think that real leaders are always searching for the next crop. We're not intimidated. Intimidated for what? It shows our leadership by bringing other people up, by promoting within, by having a person that we have grown, we have cultivated, we have coached, and we help that person get to a higher level. Success as a leader is about the organization meeting certain goals and targets, sure. Consistently over a period of time, sure. That's part of it. But the other part of being a leader is having other people succeed as well. It's having a person that starts at one level and now they're 2 levels higher. And we help them get to that point. One of my greatest successes was going into an organization. My SVP told me that my assistant was no good. Told me you can just go ahead and fire her. Say, hey, this is who she is. She needs to be let go. I had met the young lady, didn't know much about her at all. So my first day in that particular role, and my SVP says, hey, she's no good. You can go ahead and let her go. Instead of letting her go, I chose to wait. Let's have a conversation. Let me find out what's going on with her. Let me find out what's the problem, if there is one. And let me see, is there motivation there for that person to be better than who she is right now? She ended up being fantastic. Fantastic. Not only was she a great assistant, but she eventually got into leadership, got into management. Now, when I told my SVP that I was gonna wait and not fire her, she said, that's fine. You can keep her if that's what you want to do. Just remember, I told you to get rid of her, and anything she does will reflect negatively on you. I said, cool, that's fine. But also remember that anything that she does positively also reflects on me. She was fantastic. One of the shining stars of my career. So I was never intimidated by her success. I'm the one that pushed her. I was her sponsor. I wanted her to be great. It's never intimidated. So I would get away from that, particularly when it comes to leaders. I don't think leaders care about that. Leaders aren't intimidated. Now, if you're talking about an average first level manager that's trying to figure things out for themselves, maybe that's a different conversation. But if you're talking about leaders, I don't think that's the case. Now, I will say this. Every leader, every manager that's in place, in positions, they didn't get there because of their performance only. I've always said that it takes three things. And it's not from me, it's from an old mentor of mine. And I'm sure she got it from somewhere. But it was always based on performance, image, and exposure. Those three things. For some people, you have to have all three. You have to perform at a very high level. Perform at a very high level consistently. Then after you get your performance down, then you have to work on your image. What is that? What does the image look like? An image is not always about the clothes that I wear, even though that's part of it. It's what do people think when they hear my name? When they hear my name at work, what do they think? Do they say he's a sharp dresser? Do they say he's a great teammate? Do they say he is very productive? Do they say he's a high potential, right? Do they say he's loyal, hardworking, dedicated, right? What do they say? What do they think when they call my name? That's really the image. It's not necessarily just what clothes I wear. Do I sharp dress? Do I dress appropriately? Even though that is part of it. And then the last part is exposure, right? You want to make sure that you get the performance aspect of it first, then the image, and then the exposure, because you can get exposed too quickly, right? If you get exposure when your performance is not ready, right, or your image is not ready, then that could destroy your career. Absolutely destroy your career. So I've always coached my people to say you need all three. Most of us need all three. But there are people that are heavy on the exposure side. Why? Because, grandpa came in, it worked in this organization, papa worked in this organization, mama worked in this organization, and nepotism is real. And so their level of exposure may outweigh the performance side, right? That's not the case for most of us. It's just facts. There are some people, some managers in organization that get a leg up because they're heavier weighted on maybe the exposure side. But again, that's not most of us. Most people need all three pieces: the performance, the image, and the exposure in order to move forward within the organization. But again, that's not the case. So again, I would just wrap and say, I don't think that, I do agree with her in that everyone that becomes managers and leaders, they don't always perform well. They're not always high performers. I completely agree with that. But in order to be successful, your best route is to have performance, image, and exposure. And real leaders, even though there are only a few of us, we're not intimidated. Not at all. We want you to do well. Every time you do well, it makes me look good. Cool? All right. Let me hear your comments. Thanks for watching.